I think this happens with a lot of young people. When you're in a place where there are big people doing big things, sometimes what you want is a person to just hold your hand and tell you, here's how you need to navigate, here's what you need to do, here's where you need to go.
I think from your work, I can see that you put the client first. When it comes to design, yes, there's the design side of things, and then there's the side where you have to first understand what the client wants. Mm-hmm. And from how you're talking, and even from working with you as well, I've seen your need to first understand the client. And how did you learn to understand clients and portray that through design?
Okay. Now, this happened with my experience at the agency, while seeing some of the people I really admired doing some of the things that are really amazing when it comes to engaging with client and delivering results. Now, one thing about me is I'm passionate about getting the right result. Mm-hmm. And when it comes to getting the right result, what really matters the most is really understanding what the problem is.
Okay.
And that's a thing I've always lived with. So for me to get to the point where I have the need to first understand the client and their needs comes from the desire to want to achieve great results for them and for myself. So throughout the agencies while working with different people, I had to do a lot of learning and a lot of observation and seeing what are the ways that people work with these clients and what are the things I want to pick up. Mm-hmm. Now, as time went on, I started establishing ways that I would like to work with personal clients and also clients within the agency. Mm-hmm. And then after learning from what people are doing and learning and being able to know how to be able to, in order to deliver a good result, you first needed to understand the problem. Now I took that and made it my foundation for getting to solve any problem. Okay. So it has to always come from, do I really understand the problem, and do I really know, even from the client side and my side, what success can look like. Mm. And if I have that picture, then it's easy for me to create something that meets that specific objective.
Yeah. So you'd say you've learned a lot from people you've worked with?
I have.
So it's things you're picking up as you go?
Yes. So I remember while I was at the agency, and I think this happens with a lot of young people. When you're in a place where there are big people doing big things, sometimes what you want is a person to just hold your hand and tell you, here's how you need to navigate, here's what you need to do, here's where you need to go. And I think that's something I really longed. Now, the leadership is there and the systems are there, but sometimes with the workload and the things that are going on, it might be difficult to get a person who will just walk with you in your creative journey to now help you and help you understand. So here's where you're at, here's where you're moving to, and here's the bigger goal that you have that you can set for yourself to get to the next level. So I've always been in search for that. Now, even as I was learning from all these different people, I was figuring out my process and some of the things that I felt like I missed that I would want to make sure are available for the younger people who would like to grow within the industry. Mm-hmm. So with that, I think I created a framework for myself when it comes to working with people either young or older than me. And then I made sure I had certain notes based on some of the things or skills I really wanted to acquire to just get me in shape when it comes to helping everyone around me like level up.
What's something that one has to learn or understand in order to communicate with clients or like persuade them or make them understand the benefit of our job, which is design? What's something that someone has to learn or understand?
Okay, good question. In all honesty, clients just want to be heard. At the end of the day, they want to feel like you've listened to them. Even before coming up with a creative recommendation, they just want to know you've heard them and you understand what they want. And that is what forms the basis of a really good relationship and making sure you guys communicate effectively. And listening also comes with knowing the right questions to ask, or just even asking questions. Because when a person tells you, here's what I want, think what you need to grasp, especially when it comes to, I can call them the basics. It's, as a designer, your role is to solve problems, and solving the problem is at the heart of it all. And if it means solving a problem, what you need to do is, you can't solve a problem you do not know about or you do not really understand.
True.
And for you to solve a problem, you need to ask certain questions for you to get to the root cause of what the problem is. Once you get to the root cause of what the problem is, then you'll start to know, so here's where we're at when it comes to this problem. Now, what do I need to do with the skills that I have to solve this client's or customer's problem? Yeah. And having the idea or the thinking that you're solving a problem now helps you every time you're having this conversation with a new client and they're telling you, here's my problem. The first thing you go back to is digging deeper. How did you come about this problem? Where is it coming from? How long has it been there? What have you done before to try and solve this problem? And then that gives you a basis for, okay, now where do we start when it comes to solving your problem? Or what role can I play when it comes to solving your problem? And through that collaboration with the client, because it's not really a client just handing over to you a brief and you're like, okay, I'll give you something beautiful. It's partnership. It's when you're trying to solve a problem, we are working together to establish a specific result, and I'm just your partner walking you through it. So it really means a lot of conversation for, let's really fast get to understand what the root cause of your problem is. And then once we all have an understanding and we're on the same page, I'll craft strategies, or my team can be able to craft strategies to help you get to that solution. And what you'll be able to see, which is what I started with at the beginning, it's you'll listen to the client, you'll ask the right questions. And when the client will feel you have heard me and we are all on the same page on what we need to solve, it becomes very easy to now collaborate and even throw ideas to the client and say, so here's what we were going through, or here's what your business is going through. And then you can begin to throw ideas at them and tell them, okay, here's what I think we can do. Here are the 3 different strategies we can be able to employ to be able to solve this thing. And then really have a conversation and understanding and say, okay, we can try way 1, way 2, or way 3. And at the end of the day, derive results and see whether it worked or not. Now, having such a system makes it very easy to now have relationships, because you're not treating a client like a person who hands you over a job and they go and then you magically come up with a solution. But you're treating it like partnership. You have a problem to solve. I can be able to deliver solutions. Let's collaborate and get the end results together, because at the end of the day, we both need to win. Yeah.
I can see that everything you do has it's strategical. It's not just you doing something for the sake of it. Is it something you had from school, or is it still something that you've been learning throughout?
Now, as I've grown even while getting into design, back in the day, my idea of getting a good job done was really just getting something that looks beautiful. Now that was it. I could do something beautiful and I'm like, that will give you a result. Now, the beauty of even me working at the agency was you also being able to see the impact of your work and whether it's working or not. So you'd get to deliver, let's say, a piece of content, and then it goes out. And then when the reports come in, you're able to evaluate and see, did this work? And if it didn't, then you start to figure out what can you do to make it better. So that was my first encounter when it comes to really solving problems and also being strategic about how I solve the problems. So it started there. And then working with different strategists and seeing how they think and how they structure their things, it made me understand that everything needs to be very intentional. There are some things that happen by luck, but there are some things that really need to be intentional. Especially when you're expecting a certain result, especially when you're feeding or when you're putting in money and you expect something in return. Everything needs to be intentional. How you think through the concept, how you want it to come together, how you want it to roll out. It's like you almost want to predict the end result. Yeah. Then if it doesn't meet the result, then you have specific things that you're looking back at and saying, I think this is the thing that did not work. If we switch this is what can be the end result, or this is what can help us achieve a better result. Yeah. Now, that is how I started becoming really strategic and started really understanding, okay, here's how I need to think through things. Nothing is just by chance. I need to be very deliberate about even how I'm thinking about my design work, because as a designer, it needs to solve a problem.
Yeah, I think that's something designers need to learn as they grow. Because personally, when I started design, as you said, when you started, your designs, as long as they looked good, you felt like you've done
That's
something. So as for me, also for me, when I was starting up, good designs, I felt like that was it. Then when I got my internship, I worked with really amazing guys. One of them is called Joe Mutuku. I don't know if you know him.
No, I don't think so.
You should know him. So this guy guided me when it comes to design. I learned that it's not just about designing, it's about solving a problem and getting to understand who exactly you're talking to and what exactly you're trying to solve. So I had to learn that pole pole, because it was a bit difficult to understand at the time, because I was still interning. Because when I was starting up, I thought it's just designing. But I think it's something that designers need to learn even before they even start out. They need to learn that design is not art. They have to differentiate between the two. They need to differentiate between the two and realize that they're solving a problem, and the design itself has to communicate to someone. So there are those strategies. There's exactly the way you said it. What did you say? It's what did you say? It's intentional. Exactly, intentional. Yeah, that's the word. Exactly.